Fire send one of his fake constructs down the tunnels to scout ahead, and they ended up being screaming demons.
I forgot about that.
Literal screaming devils.
Oh my god.
And then after one of them came back and was dismissed, we heard someone running up the tunnel, which turned out to be Old Man Moss, being followed by a bunch of Driders. And the Driders were putting the hurt on us until Fire decided to make everything all shiny. And then the tables turned. And Bob was there.
Bob had an awful day.
And yeah, we crushed the Driders. Fire did a thing with his staff and now basically has wild mushroom magic.
Oh yeah, zombified Driders.
Yeah. And combat ended. Amalus was running out of arrows, so stole a bunch from the Driders. And I assume Pert is doing something stupid with the Drider corpses.
I assume he's tugging with the adventurer.
One of the two.
Yeah, so as Revolt Moss pokes his head out from behind the rock that he was using as cover, you see an older elven man, gray to white hair, and thin beard. He is dirty, thin, and very happy to see everybody, especially Pert. His tunic is stained and torn. His shoes look like they're ready to disintegrate. But he has a big smile on his face looking over the lot of you. So you came to join me after all. Took you long enough, but I knew you wouldn't be able to resist. The Underdark! How incredible. Though, he looks back at the dead Driders. Hasn't been all sunshine and roses, I suppose.
And Pert will walk over calmly and scoop the old man up into a hug. Maybe not the most emotional he's been, but, at least slightly more emotional and dramatic than he normally is.
He hugs you back, kind of claps you on the back. Good to see you too, my boy.
Are any of the others still alive? Did the Driders capture you? What the heck are those Driders? Have you been spending the entire time studying them? And 40 other questions I can't think of off the top of my head.
Pert, I can only answer one question at a time. The others that I came down here with are stuck. They're okay, at least they were last time I saw them. But, well, he kind of like scratches the back of his head a little bit sheepishly. We used all of our rope getting as far as we did, and they fell down a hole, and I can't get them out. How embarrassing.
I think everyone's jaw is on the floor at this point.
More just eyebrows raised, like spider people. Okay, whatever.
Are they alive?
Last time I saw them, they were, and they have all the supplies, so they're not worried about running out of food, at least not yet. But I decided to double back, see if I could find something to help get them out. And then I heard creepy crawly large spider ladies running up behind me and just started, well, running for my life.
Me?
question for the DM.
Uh-huh.
What is Issei and or the rest of the drow doing?
Isai has moved past you and is examining the drider.
Okay.
The other, looking back to where the other drow are, you see that the company has stopped, and Aeneas is approaching.
Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
do I feel like Moss is telling the whole story?
You can make an insight check.
Damn it.
I mean, best as you can tell. Or at the very least, you don't think he's, like, lying.
And I guess at this point, as the drow start approaching. Okay, I'll let Rizwin do that instead then. But Pert
Yeah,
will.
she's trying to run interference to give you more time to
Right.
talk to him.
As Zoe and Rizwin go back to meet the drow, he notices you guys walking away, and then notices the drow. Goes, oh, are they with you? I hope they're with you.
We're with them? Question mark?
It's complicated. They're asking us to escort them by force. It's complicated.
Oh. Well, I suppose it could be worse. Aeneas meets Zoe and Rizwin in the middle.
Does Moss look obviously injured or anything?
Make a medicine check.
I'm not good at that.
There's nothing obvious from what you can see. He doesn't seem to be sort of favoring any part of his body.
Doesn't look like he's got an infection or anything.
No, he looks like he's in pretty good shape for a guy his age.
Okay.
I don't think we have any spare shoes for him, though.
Have you eaten today?
I, in fact, have not. Are you offering?
Yeah, have a good trip.
Ooh.
He's very good at that.
Well, I'll take your word for it. He eats a good shrimp. Not bad.
Good.
Aeneas crosses her arms and points at the new member of your party.
I will let Zoe handle Linnaeus. Because she's the only one who can talk to her.
Pardon me.
You know. Effectively, let me put it that way. And succinctly, without getting into Pictionary.
I must agree with Cathani on that one.
Oh, 100% out of characterly, but technically Pert can, at least get the point across that don't kill him, please.
Ty?
Hello? Hi?
Hi.
Yes. God dang, people.
Aeneas is looking at you expectantly, like, hey, start the conversation.
I'm trying to think what to say.
Okay.
Damn people.
We're the
Can I point
worst.
out I've worked a 8-hour day already.
I'm sorry.
So Zoe pulls out the book and starts writing. This is Moss. This is the one we talked about wanting to find before. We found him. Or he found us. One of the two.
The rest of his people are trapped down a hole. Can we have our rope back?
Zoe doesn't know this. Zoe was instantly led off in a different direction.
Aeneas replies back. I am surprised to see this man that you were after alone, running from some very powerful enemies. It seems a bit suspicious to me.
In what way?
I would not expect one like you to be able to survive down here alone for long.
Well, can find out how he survived, but that takes time to get that information.
She sighs, looks back at the rest of the drow, looks to you. You will still travel with us until we have reached our destination. As now will he.
I will let him know this.
And I think Pert has been trying to shepherd Moss towards the drow, while trying to get the details of where the rest of his party are trapped.
Also, I want to, between that, ask him how many are there and how long they have been in that hole.
I guess I would quickly have an introduction of the party to Moss as well, because he didn't meet most of them last time, I think.
I don't think he did any of them last time.
Nope.
The only one he knows is you. Emma, since you're not really engaged in the conversation, make me a perception check. While you all are having this conversation, you notice Isai and Malir, who has joined them, are dragging one of the Driders, like, away, off into a little corner.
Huh, that's weird. I will go over and ask them what they do.
Alright. So we finished chewing. You go over to Isai and Malir, and they have dragged this Strider corpse into this little sort of alcove that's at least partially hidden from the rest of the cavern. And you see Malir has his sword out and is taking direction from Isai, who also has a dagger out, and they are cutting away the spider parts from the drow parts. They are like dismembering this corpse.
Like delicately, like doing an operation, or just chopping?
I mean, Emma can make a medicine check, I guess.
Sure.
They're not being like super delicate about it. But you do very much get the sense that like they're only cutting away the spider parts.
Yeah. Like, if there's any delicacy, it's only around the drow body.
Yes. Malir looks up at you and says, "You should go back to the others. We won't be long."
Okay.
You hear them, as you walk away, you hear them say a couple of short words in Elvish, which you can't understand, yes?
Yep.
You hear Alistair say, "Just one, yes?" And Isai says, "Yes, one."
I go whisper this to whoever's not currently engaged in a conversation.
Moss is currently shaking Fire's hand. Good
To
to
be
meet
honest,
you.
Jamie,
Yes?
to be clear, even though that inside, I don't trust them.
That's fine. That's fair.
That's why I'm asking, like, hey, how long have you been here? How many are you?
Well, there's 5 people down in the hole. It was maybe I would say maybe 7 or 8 hours of walking.
Also, very soon.
Oh yeah. It's not like I ran the whole way.
Again, I shift the eye. Looking very close, like personal space, very close.
He like it doesn't really seem to register in him that you're suspicious of him. He just kind of claps you on the arm and says, I'm real glad I ran into you. This will be much easier with a lot of you to help."
Assuming they let us help.
Why wouldn't they?
You haven't met them.
Oh.
As I said, they're forcing us to escort them.
Oh, right.
They're a very pragmatic group of individuals.
What does pragmatic mean?
It's like survival of the fittest, only dealing with people. They put the needs first before the wants.
Oh, so shitty.
At times, it can seem that way.
I can't imagine that this would be a very difficult place to live. Makes sense that it would produce people like that.
Given everything I've run into down here, I'm surprised they're all not just raving barbarians, to be perfectly honest. It speaks to their fortitude.
Emma kind of comes up behind Camille.
I mentioned about what I saw and heard.
I kind of glance over.
Yeah, you can see them hacking the Drider to pieces.
I guess, does it look like they're kind of like... Camille's guessing it's like being a Drider is kind of a bad thing, and they're trying to free the corpse, make it more not an abomination, I guess. Is that kind of what it looks like? That they're just kind of doing some sort of weird funeral rite?
Maybe. I mean, they are like actually make an insight check. You watch them hack off some of the spider bits, and like they're not really being very careful about the spider parts, and they're just kind of tossing them in a corner. Whereas the Drider half they're taking much more care with.
Stands to reason then that they're preserving the body. Like, Camille has no idea how a Drider's made. What did this to a drow, or if this is a natural thing. Mutation of the species in the Underdark or what have you. He has no freaking clue. So, and he's not going to go over right in the middle of it and ask them, saying, "Hey, why are you doing that thing?"
Mm-hmm.
Once Milir's done, he'll probably ask Milir.
Alma does comment about the just one thing, implying that they're only going to do that to one of the Driders, not all of them.
Time. Is anything different about that Drider? Bigger, paler?
Make a perception check.
Boom.
Not that you can tell.
Milir doesn't hate me, so I'll ask him when he's done. But I would say that poking our noses into the collective business of the drow is probably not a great idea. At least until we've done what they've asked.
Moss finally kind of pokes Bert and says, "So are you going to introduce me to your dark and scary friends?"
If it looks like if it looks like Zoe is done with the basic introductions, then Pert will put an arm around Moss's shoulders and walk him to Annalise. Aeneas, sorry. Hello?
Yeah. Is there anything else Rizwin or Zoe wanted to say before Pert shows up with Moss?
Nothing here.
Nope.
Okay.
And then Pert, in his most official / not going off to tangents, Drowish will introduce Moss as his teacher, and explain that there are many others in great danger in a hole, however far away Moss told us when we asked him.
Make a performance check.
Performance. Oh, charisma.
Jesus.
You get the sense that Aeneas she's not following you. You know, she's not as used to trying to work out the things that you mean as Celise is.
Is Celise anywhere nearby?
You don't see her.
Damn.
So, you walked over while Zoe and Risden were still there, right?
Yes.
Zoe face palms and starts writing out what Pert was saying. Adding at the beginning of this, sorry, can be kind of an idiot sometimes.
While Zoe is hastily scribbling in her book, Moss turns to Aeneas and holds out a hand as if to shake hers. Says, "Hello, my name is Revolt Moss. You must be Aeneas." And she just looks at his hand.
They don't do common, or politeness.
Oh. Well then, and he takes his hand back.
Not really up to date on fair sharing customs.
Suppose that makes sense. Aeneas replies to Zoe. As I said, he will travel with us. And when we have reached our destination, you may look for the remainder of your companions.
I'm assuming Zoe's just relaying that information to the group as well.
Yes.
Zoe, see if you can convince her that it might be best to not leave a potential group behind us in case something happens. That having them in their sight and under their control would be a better option.
Has anybody mentioned that it was only like an 8-hour walk from here?
Yeah, I think Per probably mentioned that.
Pert, when he was trying to explain things in Drowish, in Drow-ish, would have definitely gone over that part. Hey, they're not that far away, and he only just left them, so they should still be alive.
So he explains it. It's like, well, I understand what you're saying, and we're not arguing that we won't stay with you. The fact that they are nearby and this is a group that could possibly cause problems elsewhere would be better under your watchful eyes. Should we not go find them and get them in that position?
Make a persuasion check.
Oh, give me a second. I'm on the wrong browser.
It's okay. Well, once again, while Zoe is writing, Moss elbows Pert. Where are they going?
And Pert actually tries to be subtle for once and basically tries to tell him under his breath, they won't say.
Oh. Well, that's not very helpful.
I think their tribe is migrating, but I think they're also part of a larger group, so... it's been awkward dealing with them.
We do know they're at war with another group of drow. They said that, if I'm not
Oh.
mistaken, right?
They wouldn't be going to the big city, would they?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I would be very unsurprised.
I think they actually said something like that. I don't know.
As Zoe is listening and trying to do transcribing, she looks over at him. What big city?
The big city!
Did you find a way into it?
I wouldn't say in.
Out?
So, while I do pride myself at being an excellent navigator, even the best of masters has momentary lapses. After leaving my companions to try to find something to help them out, I sort of went the wrong way and found myself looking off a cliff to a very large cavern with a oops, I nearly knocked my tea over. With what looked like a city. I then realized that I had gone the wrong way and doubled back.
Jamie.
Inside?
Yeah, fire really doesn't trust the guy. I already did a roll, but whenever I can, I want to do it again.
Make an insight check. Sorry, tea, coughing.
Yep.
There we go. Yeah, there's something about that doesn't... Like, it just seems a little too convenient.
But you just said that we are just hours away from your companions, and you just came from that. So if you went the other direction, how did the hours add up if you were just being like 7 hours away from them?
Yeah, if that's the case, then they would be 4 hours away.
No, they're 7 hours away from here.
But you said that there was 7 hours. You were 7 hours separated from them.
I don't think I said that. If I did, I didn't mean it. I meant to say that we here in this spot are about 7 hours from where they are. I've been on the road, so to speak, for more than that.
Excuse me for a moment. I just kind of drag fire off to the side.
Sure.
I don't trust them.
They're shiftier than the shifty person we met in the city.
I have a spell at my disposal. I don't have it prepared, but it allows me to determine if someone is telling the truth or not about something. They'll know that the spell is being used, and they can avoid lying. But it might be something to consider.
The problem is, if you don't have it for today, if he is correct and we are merely hours of whatever, we will not have time before whatever happened. I think, besides, I don't know, hurt him, I don't have anything for taking information out. Maybe Zoe can, I don't know, mind thingy.
Oh, In the middle of that conversation, Mizman finishes collecting her javelins and pops up behind them. Hey, what are we whispering about?
We don't trust Moss. This
Yeah,
story
Moss
doesn't
is-
add up.
Yeah, mossy, super mossy.
I gotta relay the information to Rizman.
Well, is that a problem for now or after we get these folks to wherever we're going?
It could be a problem, just putting a guess out into the universe, but let's say that his group was abducted by the other drow.
I think he knows more than he wants to deliver, and he's looking for personal gain that might hurt us, either directly or in a relationship with the Grouse.
Maybe.
I don't like him.
I'm not sure. I'll leave it at that. I'm not sure.
I suggest that we continue on as we are and just keep our eyes open.
Yeah. At least being aware that something feels off is more likely to put us in a better situation.
Shamey, with any of the time I spent in the city, have I heard of him? Do I know what he looks like? Do I know anything about him from
Make
before
a-
5 minutes ago?
Make a history check. You've probably heard the name a few times. I mean, the two of you ran in very different circles.
Yeah. I was just like, does he look like I would think he should, basically, is where I was going with that.
Yeah, like his clothing looks like sort of the fashion of Astoria from 20 years ago.
That fits. I will wander back over to where Bert and Moss and Zoe and Anais are.
I think we'll come back over.
So, what's the plan? And I believe Ty has a persuasion check to resolve.
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me about that. Aeneas kind of looks down begrudgingly at Zoe.
I'm like, God damn it, you're right, and I hate it.
She says, I think we will be stopping for the day soon. I will discuss it with the others then.
So he gives a little nod.
Very well. Let us make what time we can then.
Jamie, I don't know if I will not talk with them a lot, but so passive awareness. I want to look at him constantly, like how he talks and how he reacts to things, and any reaction that's wrong. Like I don't know, should be surprised with something by this new thing and it's not, or something like that.
Accidentally understanding the undercommon when he shouldn't.
Yeah, I think it helps to find something to be distracted with, and it's gonna use it.
I will say Pert is not being suspicious of anything at all. So I'm just adding my
Yeah.
out of character advice. Pert is like, no, this is Moss. Cool.
Fire, please make an insight check.
Oh, why?
Okay. At Aeneas's behest, the rest of the drow pick up from where they had stopped and start moving. Isai walks back towards the rest of the group from over to the side. And Malir takes his place at the back of your group. Aeneas sort of motions to Moss as though you're going to come with us, and Moss looks at Purton and Zoe, who seems to be the only one who can talk to these people, and says, "It's alright if I walk up with these people? Want to get a chance to talk to my old student?"
And Pert will try to share that with the drow.
You can make either a performance or a persuasion check, Pert.
Yay, persuasion, something I have a stat in.
At that same time, I would like to, and this is very complicated, surreptitiously attempt to communicate something to Aeneas through Zoe.
Okay.
I don't know how many different stealth checks or what you need for that, but
You make a stealth check. If you wish to not be noticed. So anyone with a 15 or higher passive would notice.
I'm attempting to say, I have an idea, let me keep an eye on him.
And Zoe, are you going to communicate that to Aeneas?
I'm actually a little confused. Did you somehow let Zoe know that you want that passed on?
Yes. I guess my stealth check was to tell Zoe that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why she needs to know this, but are you sure we want to let her know that this person might not be as good as we think they are? Also, why do we think this? I guess Zoe kind of overheard the misunderstanding between the questions, so or the contradictions that were being brought up.
I think while Rizwan and Zoe are sort of having this little conversation, Aeneas shakes her head, points to Moss, points to the back of the group.
And Pert will shrug and pat Moss's shoulder. I guess they want to keep an eye on you, old man. Think that you're up to some trouble or something, and he chuckles a little bit.
Well, I suppose I shouldn't complain. Getting to see a foreign culture up close could be fun.
Keep good notes.
You were telling me to keep good notes. And Moss walks back with Aeneas. To where the rest of the drow are.
I just kind of shrug and I think I have everything picked up already, so I just make like we're gonna start marching again.
All right. the march continues.
I'll saddle up by Malayer at some point if he's still with our group and kind of prod him about the thing with the Drider corpse. What was that all about?
I'm not entirely sure, but
Game group something, or is it like a cultural thing?
Malier doesn't say anything for a minute. I think he knew her.
Oh. Do you know, did he say how these things are made? Are they, like if he knew her, it sounds like they were transformed? Altered?
You're asking the wrong person.
You talked to him more than I have. I just thought maybe he might have let something slip insofar as he can.
I think I get the sense that they both fear and pity those things.
I mean, get the fear part. Ugh. I get the pitying part if they were transformed against their will or whatever. That's monstrous.
It would be a terrible way to go.
Mm-hmm. I just kind of walk on in silence after that, kind of thinking about it.
Yeah. Villiers seems to be in the same headspace as you. Anything else you want to do while you're walking?
I don't necessarily have anything. Anything that happened might happen while camping.
I do have a question. I'm taking care.
Okay.
Shifty eyes.
Was that at me? Or just in
Yeah,
general?
I think, at least I think that that's what you mean. It's the only thing I can think of.
Okay, wow, I really misunderstood then. Yeah, I'm actively avoiding that. So.
Yeah. Yep. In that case, about an hour passes along the same tunnel when you hear a call from behind. You seem to be camping a little early tonight.
Who said that's right?
And as the drow set up camp, we are going to take a quick break.
I will run and grab some water.
Excellent.
Teeth.
No, bad Boston.
Teeth.
No, stop it.
Be right back.
They are there.
They've always been there. Well, except for when you're really young.
Old. You're gonna say something, Ty?
Eh.
Huh?
Eh?
What the fuck?
What?
Never mind.
I'm confused.
So am I. What the fuck are you guys going on about?
Kwasa is talking about the fact that he's incredibly aware that he has teeth.
And it's annoying,
You have teeth, deal with it.
but they're there.
Yes, they help you chew things.
Here, I will help you put your mind on something else, and you'll hate it.
Jesus Christ, that's horrible. What if it's a lungfish?
I mean, it has all the sense of the world. The first option.
Well, fish don't breathe through their mouths unless they're lungfish. It's like the horse and pants thing.
Well, I am back.
Welcome back to our existential philosophy on fish smoking.
Yeah, I see.
My heart goes with the first one, my brain goes with the second one.
How do they breathe?
Fish?
I thought it was like they get water from the mouth, goes to whatever they have as lungs, and the exit goes from the ganglia.
No. Water passes over the gills, which extract oxygen from the water and is absorbed into the bloodstream. They do not breathe through their mouths, like I said, unless they are a subspecies of fish called lungfish that have a primitive lung.
Back.
All right, is everybody back?
I think Miss is away.
Really?
Apparently, I was joking.
Oh.
It's really raining buckets outside.
I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was storming, and I'm like, what the heck is that noise? And then I'm like, oh, it's raining. And then when I woke up, the river I was parked beside was flowing very, very hard. And I'm like, glad that didn't rain any harder.
Where were you at?
Near Effingham, Illinois.
I'm sorry, Illinois?
Illinois.
Illinois.
I've heard it
The
pronounced
SSI.
both words oddly.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say Illinois.
Mock.
I've only ever heard it with the S being silent. And that's from people that lived in, like, Chicago.
Mist, you back yet?
I haven't left.
Oh.
People were talking to you, you didn't respond.
I'm guessing cat pets were free.
She's back to not responding, so it must be cats.
Ah.
Ah.
Say then we say hi.
All right. right, if everybody is back, the drow start their quote-unquote nightly routine of setting up camp. They don't set up the tents tonight. It's not very humid or drippy here, so they don't really have any need for them. But aside from some suspicious looks from the drow towards Moss in particular, it seems like any other night.
And Pert will immediately find Moss and introduce him to Sleece.
All right, you drag Moss over to Celise, and she. It looks like she's preparing food or something. And she looks up and smiles.
And Pert will volunteer to take over working on the food as he introduces her and Moss to each other and basically says, so this is Celise, she's the nice one. She's been teaching me their language, although it comes in fits and starts.
Oh, excellent. She learned any of ours?
Has she?
A little bit. You've learned more of hers than she's learned of yours.
She's smart, so she seems to be picking it up easily enough, but she's not trying, I guess would be the way I'd phrase it. She's just helping me out because she's a kind soul.
I would say it's more the opposite, that she is interested, but she's having a harder time picking it up than you are.
That's cool. And Pert will try to communicate with her that this is his old teacher, the one that they were in here in the first place just to try to find. And so he's quite happy to have found him, and is now only has the concern that the rest of Moss's group is relatively nearby, but trapped. And apparently they're going to have a discussion on what to do about that situation. And he hopes she'll let him know what comes of that.
Make a performance check.
Okay, dice don't totally hate me.
Yeah, she gets some of that. She just kind of nods along like she's not quite sure how to respond.
And Pert will simply end it by confirming that she's a friend. And
She says, "Good luck to you, Pert."
And Pert points to the food and says good luck to her and winks.
She smiles and shrugs a bit.
Is it better than the slime or worse?
No, it's still the slime.
So it's worse because it's now 3-day-old slime.
I don't know, do you want to try it?
Yes, Pert will try it.
Doesn't taste any better or worse than the last time you had it.
Does Pert have any spices on him whatsoever? No, I don't have any. I mean, technically I do, but that's actually just like pieces of monster, so not gonna experiment with that.
As you take a little bite of some, Moss kind of looks over your shoulder and says, "Oh, what is this?" Dips his finger in it, puts it in his mouth, and just like grows gray.
I mean, you know that fire has been giving shroom to everyone who wants either good shroom or normal shroom.
Oh no, he just wanted to try it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now regrets it. He very much regrets his life choices.
It's interesting to see the foods other cultures deal with, isn't it?
Yep. Sure is.
And and Pert will squeeze Selise's hand before leaving with Moss to go join the rest of the common speakers, I guess is how I'll put it. The prisoners, I guess, and introduce Moss to, at least the mercenaries.
Well, that was absolutely vile.
And Pert will shrug. If it's what they have to eat, it's what they have to eat.
I suppose so. Well, I wasn't born down here. You go back to the rest of the common speakers, and you gather that Moss has already introduced himself to everybody who can understand him, and many of those who can't.
Yeah, it sounds about appropriate.
I think everybody else is sort of getting the sense that these two are just peas in a pod.
And yeah, that's basically how things will continue for the rest of the rest period unless something comes up. Pert will probably at some point talk to Moss about what he wrote in his old book, but then remember that he left his old book with our darling halfling friend, and so we'll start talking about her for like an hour instead.
Moss will sit and listen and asks, questions here or there.
Is Fire still watching Moss like a hawk for slip ups?
Classa?
Sorry, what?
Are you still watching Moss like a hawk for slip-ups?
Yes. I have purpose that doesn't involve fighting. I'm doing that.
Right now, like, he seems like he's very interested in Pert's tales and
Talking about Vanya, the author.
yeah. Moss says, that name does sound kind of familiar.
And Pert will explain that she's a writer of multiple historical dramas, I guess is how you describe them. But they're relatively accurate to what we can tell, so damn good job on her.
Oh, good for her. She must be quite accomplished if I would know her name as a fiction writer.
Not to mention that we were able to corroborate parts of her story with
Someone who was there.
a creature that is still living.
Oh?
Yes, one of the. I guess I would maybe use the word sorceresses
Oh my goodness.
who lived at that time is apparently still living.
My boy, you have been on quite the adventure. But I think I'm going to stop you there, and we shall save this tale for another night, because I want to talk to you about what notes you have been taking while you are in the Underdark.
And Pert will take out the crystal. I've taken some notes. I've taken a couple of samples. Ruined a good dagger on this.
Yes, I see.
Does it still glow?
Yeah. I have a couple of samples myself. Of course, they're in the packs with the others. And he spends the next couple of hours before going to bed, just going over notes, finding out what you've learned, sharing what he has learned. One thing that you do learn from him is that, at least from what he thinks, he is very clear that he does not know this for certain, but he thinks that the crystals actually grow out of organic matter, that they use, like, that is sort of their building blocks.
And Pert will say that he can at least partially corroborate that because when they found a sword in a stone and retrieved it, the drow acted as if they'd robbed a man's grave. So,
Sounds like that may have been exactly what you did.
yes, unfortunate.
It's not like you could have known.
Jamie,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to bash you on your personal,
Uh-huh.
like, wording, but maybe their wording. Does it say more like the crystal grow from organic, or did he said they grow crystal with organic matter? You know what I mean?
No, the crystals naturally grow from organic matter.
Okay.
At least he thinks so. He's very clear with Pert that he has no evidence to back this up other than what he thinks the crystals are made out of.
Like moss or lichen. Right?
That's fair. I'm just
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
pointing eyes.
yes. Yes. Yeah, he seems.
So they'll share information back and forth on that
Yeah.
concept.
Sure.
And Pert will explain that he tried to talk to Celise about it, but she was very distracted, and he didn't want to bother her when she was so focused on other things. And the others can make jokes about Drow girlfriend if they want.
She does seem very nice. You two seem to be getting on pretty well.
Pert will shrug. She is a fascinating and very kind woman. If nothing else, I will probably return here later just to make sure that her group is doing well.
Moss sighs a bit and looks towards Fire and Camille and kind of discreetly points toward Pert as like, fucking this guy.
Like, the hell is he thinking? Or like, this guy's the man?
Like, no, like, this guy's clueless.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Nod.
answered. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think we're both just sitting beside each other just going, yup, uh-huh.
Well, I'm sure she will appreciate the visit, my boy. Though, I'm not too sure about the rest of these drow, to be honest.
The more we deal with them, the more I find them being understandable, if overly, not paranoid, but, certain that everything is out to kill them. But from what we've encountered of the native life in this area,
Kind of just interjects across the camp. That is paranoid.
I mean, but considering
Not
what
paranoid if it's true.
yes, that's what Pert is trying to say. Considering what the native life has shown, everything is trying to kill them here, except for the tiny slimes that they use for food.
I mean, they were the strong people. but they were infected.
They were very careful to avoid the shroom people. Celeste warned me that they are not a threat as long as you keep your distance. She has been helping me a lot, hasn't she? Pert kind of gets momentarily introspective.
Well,
Yeah,
keep going. I want to
Nicholson
hear about
nodding
these shroom people.
Oh, shit. And Pert will pull out the sample.
I
Oh,
was about to. Okay.
you pull out a glass jar with a bunch of fabric inside.
And Pert will sit Moss down and take off his... Well, he'll take... Do we have any bedrolls or anything?
Yes.
Okay, he'll spread a bread roll over his lap and then open the outer jar and pull out the inner jar. And very carefully...
No. I stop you when I start saying what you're doing. No.
I'm not opening the jar. I'm the vial.
No, don't open any jar. Don't open any jar.
He's right.
can-
Keep it safe until we're in a controlled environment.
You can tell if you want, but don't.
That stuff's far too infectious and dangerous.
And Pert will
What is it?
bite his lip and then sigh, nod to the others, and put the jar back. There's a black ooze infecting creatures. We first encountered it on the surface. It infected some boars and some other creatures that we encountered, driving them into a violent madness. And in slaying them, several of us got touched by the ooze and had moments of weak-mindedness as a result of the contact. And when the creatures died, the ooze seemed to seep into the ground and flee. And then when we were down here in the underground, we encountered a gigantic creature being accompanied by several of these mushroom people, all of which were infected by that same black ooze. We were finally able to capture a sample of the ooze. I have it here, but until we get to a proper, safe location to be able to examine it, I guess it's best to keep it sealed up.
Very interesting. And this sample that you captured, it also wants to...
It was trying to flee, yes. Physically running away from us.
into the ground.
In this
The
case,
stone ground.
yes, seeping through it like a sponge.
Make a wisdom check, Bert.
Do I feel like this is news for him?
You can make an insight. As
I'll
you
make
say
an
this,
insight, too.
you actually remember that that's not true. When you fought the ooze down here, the black stuff did not seep into the ground.
Well, it seeped into the roof instead, but
Yes.
it still seeped through the stone above us.
Camille, you're kind of unsure. Fire, he seems a bit surprised and intrigued enough that you do think this is the first he's heard of it.
Pointing eyes.
Well, if it seeped into the ceiling when you were here, and seeped into the ground when you were up above, where's it going?
Yes, that's what we're concerned about. It's been going on for... How long's it been going on now for Rinswin?
I guess about 2 months ago we first encountered.
Yeah, 2-3 months.
I mean, Emma saw it a lot earlier than that.
But no.
I don't think Rizwin is aware of that, actually.
I don't think any of us are
Yeah.
aware of that.
Yeah, we haven't told the story.
Okay.
So,
No idea whether or not Alma had. I don't remember. Because he had mentioned he'd seen it before, but I don't remember who told him when.
Yeah.
so yeah, Pert will explain about what he's encountered of it and how it seems to flee into the ground when above the ground and flee up when below the ground. So it seems like the stuff is trying to find a new level.
Do you remember which direction it went?
I think Pert would have noted the way it had fled afterwards in general. Northeast, going that away or whatever.
Make a survival check to see if Pert can figure out what way is north down here.
Yeah, no
She's
problem.
gonna be a real tough check.
I rolled a 2, so no.
No, you don't really know which way is north. So I would say you're not really sure.
And Pert will, will flip through his book to the page and he'll give a description of the cave and the direction it was heading. But, that away from where we entered the cave isn't exactly north or south, so.
Well, I suppose this is a mystery for once we get out of this pickle.
Yes. Hopefully there'll be no more mass infections of creatures until then.
Indeed.
I suppose the only positive side effect is that the infection seems to make the creatures dim and thus more susceptible to, aggressive takedown, even though they are obviously made aggressive themselves, so they're more apt to start the attack anyways.
Well, small mercies. Now, I don't know about you, but I've had a bit of a trying day. I think it's probably time for me to get some rest.
I mean, Pert's still beat to shit, so yeah, he needs some sleep too.
Well, hopefully tomorrow we can find my bodyguards, get them out of the situation, help these drow get where they're going, and then hopefully we can all start going home. This has been a wonderful experience, but well, I'd kind of like to go home, honestly.
Yes, I understand and respect that. And if nothing else comes up, Pert will just go to bed because he's got some wounds to lick himself.
As everybody is settling down a little bit more, Xander actually comes up to Camille. Hey, can I talk to you about something?
Yeah, sure.
Just make a wisdom check for me.
Hey.
Okay. So when Xander tells you that he is a cleric, you do have a vague recollection of this. It's like, yeah, I think I knew that.
Okay. Yeah, she kind of shakes his head while he's saying it.
And, Brisbane had mentioned that you also serve a god.
Yes.
Can you just tell me about that? How that happened?
You see, Xander probably sees a look of pain across Camille's face. Well, just a while ago, I had just found out that my family was killed by some cultists in my homeland, along with several other families. And I was dreaming. And I remember. It's funny. I can't recall what they looked like or what they sounded like, but I can recall their words exactly. And I was in front of the fire in my dream, sobbing. And it's definitely he, put his hand on my head and said, "My vision is clouded by a great evil. This world is in peril, son. This cult is just the tip of a necrotic wound. I can't fight it alone. Will you be my sword, Camille? Will you stand against the coming evil and deliver justice for the lost, the innocent, and protect those in need and offer redemption by word or deed to those who have lost their way, or by the sword to those who cannot be saved in this life, so that the gods may judge them fairly?" And I just remember feeling peace at that moment and just saying, "I accept." And I remember, again, I can't remember the face, I can't remember what they looked like. I remember looking into their face and just knowing that this was the face of God who loved me. And I woke up, changed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pull up bad memories.
It's alright.
Do you know?
Go ahead.
Do you know why he picked you?
No. And that's alright. They trust me. You seem uneasy about your mantle.
Yeah.
My people in our religion, our philosophy, have some questions we ask ourselves. Do you mind if I ask them to you?
Sure.
Who are you? What do you want? Why are you here? Where are you going?
I don't know.
It's alright. I didn't know for a long time either. Trust yourself. Trust that gods make choices for the right reasons. Camille holds out his sword and takes the pommel sheath off it and showing these emblem of Shar. This belonged to the former paladin of Shar. If you want it, it belongs to you.
He stares at it for a minute. I don't think it does. I mean, I've asked her why she picked me.
And what did she say?
You're not him.
You're not him.
So I don't think I should have his sword.
Well, then I will take the sword and ensure that it's redeemed. It was tainted by the previous owner's actions.
Yeah.
You seem like a good person. Be a good person. That's why they picked you. Listen to your heart, taps his chest. But run it through your head first. Don't just run off only half thinking things. But ultimately, you know what's right. You may not think you do, but you do. And trying is still better than doing nothing.
He nods his head a little bit.
I would like to say that all the choices in your life will be easy. It won't be. But again, she picked you. She knows your heart. She knows that you can handle anything that's thrown at you. Our gods have put a great amount of power in us, a great amount of responsibility. And all we can do is use it wisely and justly and in service of doing the right thing.
Thanks.
My pleasure. I'll sit there, and if he wants to stay and just be around people, then by all means, you know, he'll talk, he'll make small talk, he'll listen, he'll whatever.
Xander seems to just want to sit and think.
I'll let him. You know, the old being alone together kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And as everybody else starts to wind down for the night and find rest, is there anything else anybody would like to do?
At some point during the night, or well, I guess during the evening, while everybody's sitting around, I would like to muse out loud to no one in particular, but within Moss's hearing, how it's really frustrating to not have information about where we're going, what we're going to find, who we're going to find when we get there. And just see if anything comes out of that.
I think Kamila's wise enough to pick up on it and just sort of say, yeah, you know, where we're going, what we're doing, what we're facing is vital to the survival of everyone, including.
Well, if it is the big city we're going to, I would assume that would be the city of Lenaste, unless they, I don't know, changed the name or something. Or my map reading skills have just gone out the window.
Do any drow within earshot hear him say that name? And or have a reaction to it?
Not with that roll, they don't.
Also, now I remember he has a map, and he just oops into a city.
Um, what do you know about it? Also, there's this throughout the night. I don't know. There's been like a subtle dance of she's just making sure she's on the other side of the camp from certain people all the time.
Actually, Malir's not even there.
Okay, perfect.
He says, I know that it exists, and that's about it. I had originally been planning to actually go there and see what it was like, but now that I've met some of the fine denizens of the Underdark, I think I may want to reconsider that. Also, I'm tired and want to go home.
Did you see any of the inhabitants when you stumbled upon it? There's like audible finger quotes in her voice.
It was very far away. Couldn't really see any person if I wanted to. Although it did look a bit... The architecture looked very spider-like. A bit creepy. If I wasn't already put off by this whole place, I think that would have put me off even more.
How soon after stumbling across this city did these spider creatures stumble across you?
Quite a while. Had a rest in between.
I give Camille a look.
Sorry, part of this is just me not being able to math right now.
Okay.
I mean, you can hand wave anything you need to, just like...
Yeah. He says it would have been about maybe 10 to 12 hours of actual travel. I didn't say he took a rest in there. But a rest for an elf is 4 hours of meditation.
Yeah.
7-8 hours plus 4s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a thought.
I don't think they followed me from the city. Suppose it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Do I get any sort of sense off him other than just what he's saying?
Make an insight check.
Nice.
Yeah. There is something in there doesn't sit quite right. Like he's not quite telling the whole story.
Scholar Moss,
Yes?
where's your map?
Oh, right here. And he pulls out a very worn, crumpled piece of parchment from his breast pocket. Would you like to see?
Please.
And he hands you the map. And you see a very... Like, this is not... the most detailed or precise of maps. And you can definitely, looking at this, like there is sort of a trail marked and there's a few markers, like you see that crystal cave, you see the cave with all of the mushrooms marked on here. But
And this is the map that Kurt gave him, right?
yes. But there's also, you remember a lot of twists and turns and forks and paths that aren't marked on here.
Right, so it's about as accurate as a medieval nautical map kind of thing.
Yes.
Is the city labeled with the name?
It is.
Okay.
So with something being off, do I get the sense, like, is he leaving something out? Is he lying about something? Is he just sort of being evasive? Is he muddled?
He is leaving something out, I would say.
What else have you encountered on your trip?
Let's see. There were those big nasty black slimes quite a far ways back. They unfortunately ate one of my bodyguards. I'd be happy to never see those things again. There's there was a few little wildlife creatures. Gets a bit you might say squishy up ahead. I think there's a lake around somewhere or something.
I do that thing where you're not satisfied with the amount of information someone is giving you, so you just don't talk and you look at them like go on.
Well, how about all of you? He sort of gestures around to all of the drow in the vicinity. You seem to have been a little more lucky with finding things down here than I have.
Well, I guess I would need to know everything that you found to judge that.
I'm sort of some interesting rock formations. I do wish that the sulfur vents were not always all covered in slime so I could get a better look at them. That's something you don't see every day. And he just starts talking about those sulfur vents.
The ones that fire blew up?
Yep.
After letting him ramble for a little bit, I hold my hand up.
Oh, sorry.
I want to go home. I want to take everybody else here home. I want to make sure that nobody else dies. And if there's some piece of information that I need to know to do that, and I don't have it, well, I don't like it when my life is made unnecessarily difficult.
Make an intimidation check.
Oh my god!
He seems absolutely unfazed. I also would very much like to go home. I really wish I could tell you more. I wish I had more to tell.
Jamie? I would like to cast Detect Magic. Do I see something?
Put Detect Magic in the chat for me.
I don't have actually Detect Magic. I have
I do.
my
I'll put it in
Winter of
chat.
Fate.
Within 30 feet, you notice your companions, obviously, and Xander. You do notice magic around Moss.
Like, does it have an object or he is?
He is.
Okay.
You also notice the drow give off a magical essence as well.
Mm-hmm.
And since you know what type of school it is, what school
Oh
is
yes.
coming out of Moss?
Enchantment, I think.
To be clear, I don't want to upset you, Jamie. On
Yes.
So I know.
I'm just pulling out my book to make sure that I've got the right. I'm telling you the right thing.
Okay, but a question I have is, I get a school of magic from him. Do I get a school of magic of any person who knows magic, or is that not normal?
This is not. Make a perception check, actually. So when you look at the drow, when you look at someone like Zoe who has the ability to cast spells, that looks different than how Moss looks to you.
Yeah, that's.
I don't necessarily know that fire. I mean, you can infer that how you will.
Kind of like a more natural aura versus
Could I make the link between the type of magic that I see on him and the magic that we all feel will have on disguise ourselves?
Make an Arcana check.
Huh?
I believe in you. I believed. I don't know that Fire knows a lot about the different schools of magic and what they do beyond the spells that he himself is able to cast.
Yeah, no, like he will at most he will say like, this looks similar to something that I'm used to, not more than that.
Yeah.
So you verbalize that?
Not now.
Okay. I'm just gonna roll an insight.
Sure.
Check, Jamie, see if I'm picking up on what everyone else is throwing down.
I don't think it's hard for you to see that Fire is suspicious.
Yeah.
But.
I mean, I'm already suspicious from previous insight rolls, so.
Sorry, Jamie, if we are too on the nose.
No, absolutely not.
So, this is a little off topic, but I feel like Pert would enjoy this request. Hey Pert, can you make a copy of that map?
Of course, I'm still dreading the fact that I didn't think to make one earlier. And Pert will spend the free time tonight jotting down a copy of that map unless Moss says otherwise.
Moss thinks that having the second copy of this map is a good idea.
You might want to make a third copy then.
Pert will not have enough time to make a third copy tonight. You barely have enough time to make one copy before you're like exhaustion hits you and you realize you need to go to sleep.
While they doing that, can I I assume Moss is kind of distracted by it.
Yes, he is absolutely like looking over Pert's shoulder, critiquing his map-making skills.
With Rizwin and Kamel. Okay, so he has something. He has some aura in it. It's magic aura in it. I don't know what it is, but it's not. It has a spell on it.
Okay. Well, I can. When I prepare my spell set, I can prepare one that allows me to cast an area of truth spell, so anyone who enters that area, I will either know if the spell works on them, and that I will know if they're lying about anything they say. They will know that the spell exists and could directly obfuscate, but they can't tell a direct lie.
I was thinking the two ideas that I have of spell on him could be something controlling him or something disguising him. I don't know how to how to say it, solve the first part. But disguise, I know because I used it to. If you disguise to something different, what you see, the height and body shape, is not what actually is there. So if you touch him in the shoulder or in the head, you will touch beyond the image or before the image.
Think back to when Pert hugged his master.
He was really emotional for Bert.
Okay,
Maybe some of you, I don't know, can do some sort of massage. Oh, you tie massage and touch him.
we could just go up and wish him good night and clap him on the shoulder and see if his shoulder is where it should be. Yeah, Rizwan, you're different. It's not the same thing.
Make an insight check. There's the look on her face of the first layer is magic, 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 magic. And the second layer is, I should really understand this shit. I am a magical creature. This is frustrating.
If I get all that, I just kind of, you haven't really been you a lot, so don't beat yourself up. And from what I gather, you have a lot of time to learn, so don't worry about it.
She very visibly rubs all of her magical brain cells together and comes up with the idea, isn't there a way to stop magic?
This is a dispel magic spell. Zoe might know it. I don't.
Maybe Zoe knows about something about that. But she's busy right now.
Like I said, I have the truth telling spell. I can try that. You know, when we can get Pert to go talk to his mentor and distract him, and I can cast the spell, and we can just surreptitiously walk him back into the area.
Did you guys seriously want Zoe to cast its spell magic?
Yo,
Yeah.
Is anybody going to bring this up to her?
I thought she was
Yeah.
off with the Nayas. If you're not around, depends. Are you around?
I mean, Zoe was trying to get a map made.
Yeah, that's why I was saying you're
Um,
busy, but when you're
I kinda-
free
I
of
kinda-
that, I want
If I see Zoe, I'll just kind of gesture her over.
Head tilt.
Yeah, just like the finger like crook. Come here, please.
Yes, so he comes over and does a head tilt.
Fire used detect magic on boss and he's under a spell. Do you still know how to dispel magic?
Yeah, of course I can dispel magic. But what type of magic was it?
I'm not sure.
Was it like disguise magic, controlling magic?
I think with that roll, Jamie, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't exploding magic. I know that.
So it could be defensive magic. It could be an enchantment of some sort or an illusion.
One of those, or some sort of enchantment, or transformation, or protection, or And if you have time, the fire will continue to go from all the schools.
Yeah, okay, that's enough fire. Uh,
But what I know, it's a spell on him. It's not like he's just know how to cast magic. He has something. He's shifty. And watching him. Point here. Point my eyes.
did you just do the point at own eyes, point at their eyes?
Yes.
I think why do I feel like Zoe and Camille just look at each other and kind of just blink at each other?
Fire, you've grown up.
He's as suspicious as the rest of us.
I don't like him.
As you say this, Zoe just gives you a hug.
Okay.
No, that was to Camille. You're not suspicious.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay, so we can do this, but if something bad comes out of it, I think we should be prepared.
I think we should wait until the morning when we're at our peak.
I have another idea. I don't know. It's just an idea. What if when you try to use, beside the idea of Zoe, when you try to use your telling the truth, you say that to him. So
That we have some concerns, and I'm going to cast a spell that allows us to determine the truth of
yeah,
things.
yeah, and if he try to resist it, he's hiding something. If he's hiding nothing, he shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just be brutally honest.
I'm just not gonna like that.
Hurt will live. And if his mentor is under the gas of some other powerful creature, he would want his mentor freed of it.
he does seem a little oblivious to subtlety.
Pert or Moss?
Moss.
Yes.
She's referring to the fact that her veiled threat just bounced right off of his head.
Uh-huh. So, the morning then?
I'd feel more comfortable doing it now, but
I don't have the spell prepared, unfortunately.
no, I'm talking about the spell magic.
Hey, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get a feeling I might be able to get a better idea of what's going on if I do detect magic?
You definitely know more about schools of magic than Fire does. However, Fire's detect magic comes from him being a furbolg and is like an innate thing, and you have to cast it. And the drow are still a little touchy about, you just up and casting a spell in the middle of everything.
Still, I mean, she's done it enough times.
Yeah? I mean, yes, Zoe figures that she would have a better idea of at least the school of magic than Fire would.
So, Zoe sits down, pulls out her book, and starts to write a message.
Okay?
Since you are worried about Moss and how he was able to be on his own, and that's odd, would it be alright if I cast a spell to see if there are spells on him?
You receive back the reply, wait until I'm there.
I'll be honest, I want backup for this, so.
Yeah, it's about like 30 seconds to a minute later, Aeneas shows up. She just crosses her arms and nods her head.
I wave to her.
And Zoe starts her 10 minutes and 6 seconds spell.
Where's my... After about like a minute of you casting a spell and Aeneas just sort of standing there scarily, Moss looks up and... Is everything alright?
Everything's fine. Just
getting ready for bed.
Doing my evening alarm spell to make sure no creatures come into the camp.
Oh, that's a very good idea. Back to map making. 2 minutes later, is she gonna stay like that?
It's a very complicated ritual.
No, he's pointing towards Aeneas,
Oh,
who is still watching.
she gets titchy around spells.
Ah. Understand that. Goes back to map making.
Do I feel like he's genuinely curious or worried?
Make an insight check.
This is the day of the insects.
All of us doing insight checks.
Except
Mm.
Bert.
Also, Seth was.
You don't get the sense that he's like nervous or anything. He's more just like, oh hey, this is weird.
Sure.
What's going on here?
Fair dinkum.
And he seems to like be accepting of your answers. So the 10 minutes pass. Zoe, you cast Detect Magic, and you do indeed sense an enchantment magic coming from Moss.
Zoe looks around the group and gives a little nod to basically be like, are you ready?
Nod back.
Nod back. Have a spell on my lips just in case.
Dispel magic at 4th level.
Alright. While Moss has his back turned, leaning over the map that Pert is now finishing up, you wave your hands, cast Dispel Magic. I need you to make a spellcasting check.
Ooh.
Well, it's above 5th level.
Yep.
Sure is.
Let's see. How do I do a spell casting?
It could be 5th level.
You can do any spell attack, and that's the same number.
$18.
Is that...
Actually, I think it would be
No,
17.
that's right.
Yeah,
I-
17. Why the mod?
It's
The mod
the-
is-
Regalia.
Yeah, so it would be 17.
Okay, 17. You cast the spell, and with Detect Magic still up, you feel that spell that's on him slowly break away and fade. And he, like, stumbles for a second. What was that?
Anything wrong, friend?
I don't know. I just felt kind of weird for a second.
You're dizzy? Did you eat the slime thing?
Oh, was that it?
I
I
don't
just
know.
had a little bit.
What what rations did your group have in the? You said they were trapped in a hole. Do you know? Remember how much they had?
I. And he stops. What?
Your companions. Do you remember what happened to them?
He looks back at you, and he's got this sort of look of confusion on his face.
So Zoe picks up her book and starts to write that he had a spell on him, and he's now acting very confused.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, what?
You don't know that.
No. Sorry, was that oh dear Moss or I thought the oh dear?
That was Oh Dear Moss.
Oh,
And Pert will finally stop working on the map to look up and over at Moss and the others, kind of quizzically. Is everything all right?
I don't know.
I just kind of walk over and put my hand on his shoulder. What do you remember? Looking down at him.
I remember. We found a lake.
Okay.
Big, ugly, putrid thing. It was not very nice. There was something swimming in there.
I'll kind of
And then
motion
I-
for Zoe to start writing this down and transmit.
And then I heard something in my head. And then I was walking. Then I was going to try to find something to get my friends free.
Your friends, you're like the soldiers you came with, the mercenaries.
Yes.
Where are they? You said
I don't know.
What kind of thing you had in your head?
What?
Say you had a thing in your head.
I heard something in my head. It's like somebody was talking
Pretty
to
much.
me.
what did it want?
He pauses and thinks for a moment. Wanted to know what I wanted. Weird.
So you were with your companions. You found this lake. You remember something talking to you, trying to get what you want in your head. And the next thing you remember is walking alone.
Yes.
Anything else in between?
Well, I'm sure there was something else in between, but I don't seem to be able to remember it.
You remember that you told us that your friend were in a hole?
I do remember telling you that, yes, but I don't
Do-
actually remember it happening. It's like somebody told me to say that, or told me to believe it.
How about the city?
I do remember seeing the city.
But you
But-
also saw something swimming in a putrid lake.
Yes. How very peculiar.
Is Danaeus' face betraying anything?
How much has Zoe said to Aeneas?
Translated word for word.
Alright. Aeneas looks mildly concerned, which is more than you usually see on her face.
The British panic attack.
Zoe looks up at her and see if she's saying anything, or I guess wanting to reply.
Aeneas says, please ask him how far away this lake is.
Do you remember how far away the lake was?
He thinks for a minute. Maybe a few hours from here? I don't know. I'm a little muddled right now. I'm sorry.
Is it the same location as the place that you remember talking us about with the lost friends?
Perhaps? I'm so sorry.
And Pert will reach out and squeeze Moss's shoulder. Magic is a awful thing. Sometimes it can just scramble the mind. Don't feel too bad about it.
Do you feel
Yes.
like he's genuine right now, right?
Yes, he seems genuinely confused and a bit befuddled.
Good.
Rizwan will sort of place herself in front of Aeneas like they're talking, and through Zoe ask thoughts.
So Zoe translated back what was happening and then added the thoughts.
Aeneas says, if there is something living in these tunnels powerful enough to do this to a person, it would explain why we haven't seen more enemy drow. Why spend the resources to guard a tunnel if something so terrifying is already living in it?
And these twisted folk?
Her face darkens. Not altogether unguarded, I suppose.
So they are the enemy and not a corrupted version of the enemy?
They fight for our enemies, whether they want to or not. And she gives you a look like, don't push it. And she does not really want to talk about this.
Push it to the
In
limit.
my time down here, am I at all familiar with any kind of creature like a badger that lives in holes and you don't want to stick your hand into the hole without knowing what's in the hole?
Oh, probably.
I say, instead of badger, I say that creature, and I say, I don't like sticking my hand into a badger's den blind.
A killick. Then.
And I'm trying to convince her to give us a little more information about what the fuck we're doing.
Butcher.
Um, Aeneas says, those creatures were once drow, but they are no longer. They listen only to the ones who made them.
I'm assuming that this is just we're communicating by translation. So
Mm-hmm.
who made them?
Aeneas lets out a really big sigh. The priestesses of Lolth.
Is that
It's a,
any knowledge of that?
Nope.
Okay.
Who are the priestess of Lol? She writes down. Or maybe the better question is, who is Lol?
Which one do you write down?
Probably the first and then the second.
Okay. Lolth is the deity they worship in Lenaster now.
does not sound like a very nice deity.
Did they replace? She writes down Shar and then adds the word they use for Shar.
Mm-hmm. Her influence has grown considerably in the last 300 years.
Is this your goal to bring to correct this?
You could say that, yes.
I want to do something, but I don't know it.
So she specifically mentioned that Lolth is a deity, right?
Yes.
Hey guys, we're on a holy war here.
Oh,
Um, I think Rizwan just walks off and goes to find Xander.
Glad Rizwan can do that, because that's what I wanted Zoe to do, but Zoe doesn't know it.
I can still do it technically.
Deus Vult.
Hey, that's my line.
Mata Mata.
Zoe adds
Mhm.
to a line just, I'm glad you were honest with what the mission actually was. We might have been more willing to help if you had just done that in the first place.
I did not trust your intentions when we first met. How was I to know that you were not one of her agents? Many of us are still suspicious, though I am less so. And she gives you kind of a look like, you better not let me down.
Me and Fertington.
Zoe adds in the beginning, I told you I gave you my word.
Did Zoe make her aware that Kamel's a paladin at all, or just kind of glossed over that fact?
She knows that you're, or at least Isai knows that you are a paladin of some god that is not theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But they never once thought that Kamel was a paladin of Lolth.
No. That would have been way off.
For many reasons,
Too much shiny.
and too male.
Mm,
And not enough spiders.
yeah.
Aeneas writes to Zoe, I think we all should get some sleep. It sounds like whatever this thing is, we may be facing it tomorrow.
I think it's fair to say the entire party just nods.
Pert finishes the map and adds in the couple of flourishes that were missing.
All right.
I'm gonna, before Aeneas departs, I'm gonna ask Zoe to ask Aeneas if we're facing something so dire, giving us access to our full equipment would ensure our odds of survival.
I believe the only thing that we don't have access to in terms of fighting stuff is the +1 sword that Pert had.
And your javelin and Pert's cloak.
That's true.
Yes. Surprisingly enough, she doesn't really seem to take much convincing. She nods and says, if this threat is as dire as I believe it to be, then you will not fight alone tomorrow.
Nods.
So is Zoe or is Rizwin back with Sandra yet?
She, as soon as it became clear that Lolth is a deity opposed to Shar, Rizwin was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far she had to go.
Probably not too far.
Not too far. I don't think Xander's been lost in thought and not really paying attention to what you guys have been doing.
Can I don't want to like go wander into the caves or whatever, but like just apart from everybody so that we can talk without being overheard.
Sure.
Okay, so she wasn't bringing back Sandra?
Nope.
Okay, then Zoe will gather her items up and assumingly go back with Aeneas.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my memory? How's my memory feeling? What don't I know?
Make a wisdom check.
Oh.
It's pretty good. I don't know that you necessarily remember Xander showing off that he is the cleric of Shar, but you do remember your conversation from last night, and Rizwin can sort of infer from that.
Do I remember the first time that he was talking with Aeneas?
I don't think so.
I think I'm beginning to understand why we're here.
Why?
Those spider people that we fought today serve someone in opposition to Shar.
Oh.
Aeneas referred to her as Lolth.
I can't say I've ever heard the name before.
I think we're supposed to help these oppose those.
Oh. That sounds a lot bigger than... That sounds really big.
It's a good thing you have a small army with you then.
don't know that I'd call this a small army, and I don't know that I'd really say that they're with me, us.
Well, the start of an army is a leader and one person to follow them. And we have that much. So, let's expand.
I hope you weren't referring to me with that leader comment.
A
Briswin,
reassuring shoulder grip.
Reassuring
Wait.
shoulder grip and wink.
I can't. Are you insane? I can't lead them. I can't even talk to them.
We can communicate.
And he just kind of deflates. Briswin, they don't even remember. And that's just gonna keep happening. I'm not a leader. I can't. And he seems a little bit relieved when he says, I can't.
Relieved?
Yeah,
Can I insight check that?
sure.
I don't know what I'm insight checking it for, but why? I guess
Yeah.
why relieved? But I don't get anything. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can... I guess I've got a couple of spells that might be able to help, but...
That's not necessarily what leading is. You are a symbol to anyone that follows Shar of her existence, her power, her interest in the events. A leader's job is to worry about the people that they're leading, not the people that they're leading them against. These drow, even though they're doing a very good job of hiding it, are scared. They need that reassurance that they're doing the right thing, that they're doing it for someone that loves them. And as for them forgetting, we've already proven that you're able to control it. You just need to work on it some more.
What are you talking about? I can't control this.
She gestures at herself like, I'm here, I'm talking to you. I know who you are.
And he just kind of stares open mouthed at you for a second. Oh.
at some point in the past couple of days, I would like to assert that I have evaluated inside my head. Do I feel like it has more to do with his ability to control it, or the faith in Shar that the target has? Like, by displaying faith, did I make it easier for myself to remember?
You would think that it has more to do with Xander than it has to do with Faith, because then, like, the Drow forgot pretty easily.
Well, I guess that's what I was trying to. It's like maybe they don't have enough faith. But
Yeah.
I don't say any of that then.
All right. I guess I can give it a try. As long as they don't skewer me first.
Well, maybe a less public display. Aeneas seems both level-headed and not completely hostile to us.
Yeah. Okay. Can we do this tomorrow?
I give a look like,
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Rizwan's still down wisdom points, yes?
Yep.
Did Xander heal some of that wisdom lost first thing in the morning?
That's up to you. If
I
would say this.
I don't remember if I did it or not.
Oh, how many?
Probably
hold on,
not.
I'm looking at my notes and
I
figure
don't-
out how many
I
days
don't-
it's been.
I don't recall off the top of my head, so I would say no.
Yeah, you didn't specifically narrate it. I'm
Okay.
trying to figure out when, because it's been 2 nights ago at this point that the fight happened, right?
Yeah.
The Ooze fight, yes.
No. No? Hold on. Yeah. So that was last night.
Yesterday.
Right. Well, the fight was last night
Yeah.
And
And
then-
then he healed you
or
2
yesterday,
points.
and he
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
And that's
he-
it?
Okay.
And
yes,
then
he didn't
one-
do anything this
One
morning.
for
no.
long rest. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Wow, is that really down to 6?
Yeah.
You sure were. You
Um,
were an impulsive person.
You
Okay, sick.
he actually reaches out a hand to you and casts that spell one more time.
As he's doing that, do I have any memory of what happened last time he tried to do that? And then can I look around and see if anybody's watching?
He has already looked around to make sure that nobody is watching, and nobody is watching you.
Okay.
So you heal 1 more point of wisdom loss.
I guess after he does that, like, it takes me off guard a little bit, and then I look around quickly, like, oh shit, did anybody see?
I'm not making that mistake again. I just could use some time to think about it. About what I'm gonna say, I guess. What I can do.
Can I tell if pushing him any further would do more harm than good at this point?
Probably.
I nod, and does he look like he's gonna go somewhere or just sit down?
He looks like he's gonna go to sleep.
Okay. So yeah, I just will sit down or whatever. nearby.
You go back to the rest of the group?
I'd follow him wherever he goes. I assume he goes
Alright.
back to the rest of the group.
Yeah, he goes back to the rest of the group. Is there anything else you would like to do before you go to bed?
I will say not as good, obviously.
Desperately double check all my
as,
spells.
Marinos.
Alright.
Just whatever spices they use, the sauce they use, the meat they use, cheese they
I must
use,
study these
everything,
mushroom arrows.
quality.
Yeah.
But definitely.
You're pretty sure that they're gonna act just like normal arrows. Like they're a little more whippier than your regular ones, but not enough that you think it's
It's a nice change of
gonna.
pace.
You're gonna have to worry about it with your aim. It's just a little bit.
Oh no, that's not what I'm studying. I'm studying if I can figure out how they're made.
Oh.
Sausages yesterday, I shat them out within about a couple of.
I don't know very much about how you make arrows.
Oh, it's just woodworking. He's trying to figure out if he can apply woodworking to mushrooms.
Hmm.
If they're dense and fibrous enough, you probably could.
Yeah.
So my brain forgot about the mushroom arrows and now had this picture of a normal arrow with a mushroom on the front of it.
Alright, so everybody gets some sleep for the night. And you wake up the next day as the rest of the drow are starting to pack up camp. Anybody who is still down points of wisdom gains 1 point of wisdom back.
One more to go.
Almost back to 9.
12. Thanks.
I just assumed you had a 9 in wisdom.
I did yesterday.
Yep.
Okay, so you're as wise as God.
Aeneas brings Zoe over to the rest of you and instructs the drow to give you back all of your equipment. They're still keeping your like packs and stuff and like non things you won't need in combat.
Things that would just weigh us down.
Yes.
I feel like Zoe's handing stuff back.
Lightning javelin, thing in the water. Taps that head.
Does Pert get the sword back?
They begrudgingly give you the sword.
Aw. Pert's very respectful with it. And attempts to thank them in their own language.
The drow that gave it to you just kind of like grits his teeth a little bit. He doesn't seem to be super keen on you guys. Nibbles, make a wisdom check. You sure don't.
Do I remember my conversation with Xander yesterday?
Make a wisdom check.
Sure don't.
As everybody is preparing to head out, Moss says, "Feel like I should probably be up front, since I think I'm the only one who knows where we're going. I think I remember where we're going." Ooh.
You see things coming at us, you run to the back.
Oh yes, certainly, I will be doing that. You all look like you can handle yourselves. I do remember there being quite a few twists and turns in the path, but I think I remember where to go.
For being stealthy at all, pass without a trace?
Definitely pass without a trace.
So Amos is casting Pass Without Trace.
Okay.
Yes.
And derivation to the one who correspond.
Sorry, I'm typing.
Ooh, typing.
I'll just suggest before we get into combat, if combat's coming, let us take a break first because I'll have to pee.
P. Forgot to mention that intimidation of Rizwin being dead not one. It was her 50th, not one.
And she's had one more since.
Yes.
Poor Nibbles.
Yeah, if Nibbles dice hold out for when we switch over, I'm okay with that.
He's the leader on that ones. But also second in nat 20s.
That's not bad. Is there anything you would like to do before you head out?
I will find Xander and have a repeat of that conversation from last night.
You just... Xander has this funny look on his face today, like you're telling him something he already knows.
Good.
It must be get very tiresome for him being the whole life like this.
I assume Xander feels like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day.
Like after a sentence or two, do I pick up on that? Does he stop me or anything?
Make an insight check. No, you feel like he's, on your wavelength. Just nodding along, like, yeah, I get what you're saying. I just need some time to figure out quite what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna say, Don't want to skirt
Yeah.
up and have them.
Sorry, I meant to tell you this last night, but I guess you had already gone to sleep.
Oh, it's okay. I think we all had you especially had a pretty exciting day yesterday. He seems a little bit sad.
What's wrong? Other than she gives a gesture to like the broad situation.
Oh. Yeah, and he gives the same gesture.
I know what I want to say, but he has to prompt it.
I hear that things might get kind of scary today. Be careful.
I do my very best to look reassured and confident and say faith, right?
Yeah, Faith.
And walk away.
Alright.
Meanwhile, Pert is busy going on to Moss about the cloak and the drow, or the sorceress, as they put it yesterday, who gave him the cloak.
Moss is less interested than you expected. He seems to be a little bit preoccupied.
I don't
sorry.
think Pert's self-aware enough to
Yeah.
notice until he says something.
Yeah. Sorry, Pert. I'm just a little nervous about today. Wish I had a little more memory of what we were walking into.
Pert will squeeze the old man's shoulder. It's It's all right. Did I tell you about the Hydra?
No, I don't think you did.
And Pert will distract him from worrying about today with the epic battle with the Hydra story.
All right. So everybody gets their stuff together, and you take your place to the front of the line. Moss stands beside you.